installment of the audiobook reading of Confusion in the Cosmos by Miguel Stephano. Again, this is going to be section 3. So this is the 4th video in the playlist, chapter 3, the firmament. So I'll just real quick wait until I see somebody pop in before I start going live to make sure that I am up. Looks like everything's up. So again, Confusion in the Cosmos by Miguel Stephano, section 3, the firmament. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and marked off the heavens by the span, and calculated the dust of the earth by the measure, and weighed the mountains in a balance, and the hills in a pair of scales? It's Isaiah 40:12. The word firmament is considered to be the quote-unquote dome or vault of heaven, which comes from the original Hebrew word rakia, which means an extended solid surface as if beaten out, or simply expanse. The ancient world's cosmologies all depicted that the firmament was solid and supported the waters above it, separating the upper heavens from the sky and earth below. The general explanation of globe-defending believers is that this firmament is really just atmosphere, and that the waters it is dividing are actually just moisture or humidity. Therefore, the firmament, according to them, is an expanse of air or atmosphere. Hey, Obi. What's up, Obi-Wan Kenobi? Let's lay out these definitions and make some comparisons to this chosen narrative of atmosphere. So, rakia, an extended surface as if beaten out. Dome, a rounded vault forming the roof of a building or structure, typically with a circular base, a large hemispherical roof or ceiling. And then firmament, the vault or arc of the sky and the heavens or the sky, especially when regarded as a tangible thing. To start this discussion, we must stop and consider that the creation account in Genesis, day 2, was dedicated entirely to creating the firmament exclusively. This firmament is also the only thing referenced in all of the Bible as reflecting Yahweh's literal handiwork. If that did not just confound you to your core, please pause and think that through until it really sinks in. This author believes that this is the most highly overlooked and a completely misunderstood aspect to the entire cosmos. Perhaps this author could even say the firmament is the most hidden component of our entire cosmos and still be accurate. When someone starts to understand that there is an actual firmament and what it might actually be, it allows statements or phrases like "the sky is the limit" or "let's shatter that glass ceiling" to make more sense by allowing you to realize why these phrases came to be in the first place. Okay, so let's look at the 2nd and the 4th day of the creation account to start understanding what Genesis is describing regarding this firmament or rakia. And the Most High said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And the Most High made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so." Goodness. Genesis 1:6 through 1:7. And God, or the Most High, called the firmament heaven. And in the evening and the morning were the second day. Genesis 1:8 through 1:10. Hey, Rosie. So, of course, someone's going to start blowing my phone up when I go to live stream. Whoever's watching, if that's you calling, please stop, because I guess I'm still live. What's up, everybody? I see you there in the chat, and then it goes away. Hi, how you doing? Okay. So let's see if I can pick up where I left off. So the firmament, as described, seems to be an extremely important... I'm going to block this person. Really? Okay. The firmament, as described, seems to be an extremely important centerpiece regarding the puzzle in reconstructing our cosmos. The word firmament is used in 17 occurrences in the KJV, KJV, each translated from the original root word rakia. There are multiple things going on with this structure that seem. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to block this person. So that's so much for the bright idea of doing a live stream from my phone, right? So as soon as somebody sees me live streaming, they're going to call me 5 times in a row after I hang up on the incoming call, really? Okay, sorry about that, everyone. I have a computer sitting over here, but it needs a memory upgrade, and it's not the best. So it's much better to do from the phone, clearly, right? Oh my God. See, I don't know how to block this person. Let me. Wow. Put your phone on do not disturb while recording. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Thanks. Let me just go ahead and do that right now, if I can figure out how to do it. Do not disturb. Brilliant. Brilliant idea. Thanks, whoever just said that in the chat. I do appreciate it. Great. Okay. All right, so let me just read that last paragraph, or the ending of the last paragraph again. So the firmament as described seems to be an extremely important centerpiece regarding the puzzle in reconstructing our cosmos. The word firmament is used in 17 occurrences in the KJV, each translated from the original root word rakia. There are multiple things going on with this structure that seem to play an integral role in the creation account as well as in the universe as a whole. Critically think this through based on the words rakia, firmament, and dome as defined above. Is it logical to define this structure as atmosphere? Does this separation of dividing waters from below and waters from above imply moisture or allude to humidity? In the creation account of day 2, as laid out in Genesis, does this make any sense for him to have spent the entire day making air? Okay, so understand that in order to adhere to the belief of a globe in an ever-expanding outer space, you have to either ignore the firmament entirely or you must redefine it. Let's continue reading through the text that points to the firmament and see if it matches with the description of being air or atmosphere, or if this could be a literal solid physical object in the heavens supporting the waters and spread over the earth. The one who builds, this is Amos 9:6, the one who builds his upper chambers in the heavens and has founded his vaulted dome over the earth. He who calls for the waters of the sea and pours them out onto the face of the earth. The Most High, the Lord, is his name. So based on the words in Amos 9:6, we could end this chapter right here. A boldly created, quote unquote, upper chambers and vaulted dome over the earth is pretty clear cut. But in an effort to see the whole picture incomplete, let's put the time in and look at the rest of these texts. So he's going to quote Isaiah, Psalms, and Isaiah again. So Isaiah 45. 45:12, it is I who made the earth and created man upon it. I stretched out the heavens with my hands, and I ordained all their hosts. Isaiah 45:12. Psalm 19, the heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament shows his handiwork. And then Isaiah 44:24, thus says the Most High, your Redeemer, and the one who formed you from the womb. I, the Lord, am the maker of all things, stretching out the heavens by myself and spreading out the earth all alone. So, end quote. That was, again, Isaiah 44. So, yes, you did just hear that right, and this author hopes you caught it. You just read in God's own words, he said that he stretched out the heavens by himself and spread out the earth all alone. He literally stretched out the heavens into a dome-shaped firmament and is pointing out these inconceivable works to Jacob. Now, with spreading out the earth, you cannot make a ball or a sphere by spreading out. You can, however, spread out dough to make like a pizza or a pie crust. Sorry, lost my place. Pizza or pie crust, as we can test in our own kitchens. You can even spread out soil when excavating to level a plot of land. If he made a spherical earth, it would stand to reason that he would have chosen a different way to explain these things. There are people today who are minimizing the importance of this language by calling it figurative or metaphorical, but these are the clues and the explanations that God gave us to understand his literal creation. Let's continue. Thus says the God, the Lord, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and offspring, who gives breath to the people on it and spirit to those who walk in it. Isaiah 42:5. Psalm 136, to him who spread out the earth above the waters, for his loving kindness is everlasting. So spread out the earth above the waters, huh? This would be another confirmation that would seem to contradict the scientific globe model. Waters under the earth? That's interesting, but let's keep going. So Proverbs 8, when he established the heavens, I was there. When he inscribed a circle upon the face of the deep, when he made firm the skies above, when the springs of the deep became fixed, again, Proverbs 8:27. So there's another testament from Proverbs 8 describing a firm sky. So far, we have a whole creation day dedicated to stretching out an unknown material into a firm, vaulted dome over the earth that literally supports waters above and has lights inside for light and days and seasons upon the earth. So let's see what else we can find, because at this point, it's pretty hard to substantiate from Scripture that the firmament is only a layer of atmosphere. So this is Isaiah 51:13, that you have forgotten the Lord your maker, who stretched out the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth. Jeremiah, it is he who made the earth by his power, who established the world by his wisdom, and by his understanding he stretched out the heavens. Isaiah 48, surely my hand founded the earth, and my right hand spread out the heavens. When I call to them, they stand together. And then Job, who alone stretches out the heavens and tramples down the waves of the sea. Jeremiah, it is he who made the earth by his power, who established the world by his wisdom, and by his understanding he has stretched out the heavens. And then Isaiah, it is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in. And then Psalm 104, covering yourself with light as with a cloak, stretching out heaven like a tent curtain. He lays the beams of his upper chambers in the waters. He makes the clouds his chariot. He walks upon the wings of the wind. And then Enoch 18:5. And I saw the winds on the earth, which support the clouds, and I saw the paths of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of heaven above. Job 22, clouds are a hiding place for him so that he cannot see, and he walks on the vault of heaven. Enoch 14:18, and I looked and I saw in it a high throne, and its appearance was like ice, and it surrounds like the shining sun, and the sound of cherubim. And from underneath the high throne were flowed out rivers of fire, so that it was impossible to look at. And Job 37, listen to this, O Job, stand and consider the wonders of the Most High. Do you know how God establishes them and makes the lightning of his clouds to shine? Do you know about the layers of the thick clouds, the wonders of one perfect in knowledge, you whose garments are hot, when the land is still because of the south wind? Can you, with him, spread out the skies strong as a molten mirror or glass? And then Ezekiel 125, and there was a voice from the firmament that was over their heads when they stood and had let down their wings. And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone. And upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness as the appearance of a man above upon it. Again, that's Ezekiel 125. Ezekiel 10, then I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the heads of the cherubims, there appeared over them as it were a sapphire stone, as the appearance of the likeness of a throne. And Daniel, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Daniel 12:3. And finally, Enoch 18, and the middle one reached to heaven like the throne of the Lord of Stibium, and the top of the throne was of sapphire. Hey, I'm live streaming. Can you try to? Okay, all right. I'm just saying. Sorry. I don't know about you, but do these explanations not settle the argument on the firmament being a solid spread out superstructure? And to answer the author's question, in my opinion, I would go back to the original Aramaic, Greek, or Hebrew, because the word firmament, again, is an English word, but I don't want to get too much into dissecting this because I am just trying to get it down in audiobook form. But again, just a sort of a disclaimer, the views and opinions expressed in this book do not necessarily reflect my personal views and opinions, although I do agree with much of what is in the book. I don't necessarily agree with certain things. So at any rate. Okay. So anyway, so back to the book. I don't know about you, but do these explanations not settle the argument on the firmament being a solid spread out superstructure? It couldn't be more obvious unless God shared with us the actual blueprints. And speaking of blueprints, Ezekiel 126 above revealed it has the appearance of sapphire stone, which would have a brilliant blue cast. Could the deep blue color we see in the sky be the firmament's actual color in the distance? Or could the material be more transparent and it's the water above that gives us the appearance of blue sky, similar to looking into the turquoise waters of the Caribbean? An analogy that comes to mind is how glass blowers and artisans actually stretch their preheated glass when shaping it. Could this be the closest parallel to how the Most High may have constructed his dome by stretching it? It is unfortunate in this author's view that many modern Bible translations will substitute the word firmament for expanse, sky, or even space, confounding the reader by the translator trying to match the mainstream belief that there is not a dome, but an expansive outer space. And again, while I don't believe in outer space, the original word rakia means expanse. That is what it means. So anyways, again, the root word for these occurrences is rakia, which means an extended solid surface as if beaten out, which, again, this is according to this author. There are translations, however, that use the word dome or vault instead of firmament, which is more in line with rakia and provides an entirely different meaning and understanding as to what is actually above us and where the Most High actually abides. Let's look at a passage from the ancient book of Jubilees regarding the second day of the creation account. Jubilees 2:4. And on the second day, he created the firmament on the midst of the waters, and the waters were divided on that day. Half of them went up above, and half of them went down below the firmament that was in the midst over the face of the whole earth. And this was the only work Yahweh created on the second day. And I'm sure Just Jack and my other Hebrew friends will have plenty to say about Yahweh. But again, I'm just reading this. In modern times, the idea of the firmament seems to have been changed into being metaphorical, figurative, elusive, and therefore insignificant in nature through the distorting and veiling of its literal physical properties. The results of this have removed the original depiction of its importance intended for us to comprehend in light of what God created and its significance in relation to being the outer barrier of the entire cosmos. The realm that we exist in, or our universe as we know it, fits within this enormous dome structure. This illusion has been promoted probably since the 1940s, telling us that this ever expanding outer space is where possibilities are endless and our imaginations are the only things limiting us. There are planets flying around with other possible forms of life, etc. This is all designed to deceive us by thinking outside of what actually exists, because we only have inner space, and this contrived outer space is an enormous fallacy against the Most High's created realm. So why do pastors, theologians, and Bible teachers not see this, you ask? Could this viewpoint and lack of discernment be explained simply as cognitive dissonance? If they are not one of the people pitching this deliberately, what else could it be when it is so obvious? The definition of cognitive dissonance is psychological conflict resulting from incongruous beliefs and attitudes held simultaneously. This process, referred to as cognitive dissonance, can be looked at as unconscious defense system that many of us naturally employ to protect our egos. When an individual learns new information that challenges a deeply held, previously learned belief system, the new information is quickly disregarded and not even taken into account. If someone believes that they know something if someone believes that they know something and contradictory information or alternative is presented, it is pushed away as incorrect due to the construct of their already preconceived worldview. So, an example of cognitive dissonance, there's no way that there could be a solid firmament dividing the heavens, because we know that outer space is ever expanding and the Lie SS is up there orbiting at 17,000 miles an hour. I know this to be true because I saw it with my own eyes on a clip on the news of the men being interviewed from inside of it. The news has never shown me the firmament, and science has told us that space is infinite, to infinity and beyond, right? Hey, out there in Costa Rica, hello. If you cannot relate to this meaning and you're feeling a little squeamish while pushing this definition away as being something that you don't do, then you're probably experiencing cognitive dissonance right now. That's okay, though. It's something that we all do. Call yourself out on it and understand what it is. Realize that it is alive and well inside all of us. Maybe reread this chapter and pray for truth to be revealed to you. It's okay to be uncomfortable at first when changing your worldview. Everyone who has learned of these deceptions has had to process the true reality of our world. I will say that although in the short term you will have some discomfort and questions, in the long term you'll be much more content and have a greater understanding. You're now being given a correct worldview as your creator wanted you to comprehend. Awakened people with their eyes open to these deceptions can attest to this adjustment process, and they admittedly would never consider going back to their previous false, man-made, artificial worldview. What's up, Joe Mama? Some refer to this as leaving the quote-unquote matrix and view this process as figuratively taking the red pill. If the firmament were hidden from us entirely and we never knew it existed, couldn't we fall unknowingly for false narratives of what the cosmos is entirely? Could the belief of a false cosmology be related to the end age deception that we were warned would take place by the prophets in the past? It must also be recognized that Bible authors believed there were three heights regarding the heavens. The word heavens, which is Shemayim in Hebrew, is always plural and means to be lofty or high places. The word heavens, plural, is used to describe the layers of the heavens above us. The first height of the heavens is the sky where the birds fly, the clouds drift, and the rains are derived. That's where the birds fly inside the firmament. Quote from Genesis 1:20, "And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that has life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven." Again, Genesis 1. The second height of the heavens are where the sun, the moon, and the stars are, or abode of the stars, or the astral plane, which reside inside and below the firmament. Psalm 8:3, when I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars, which thou hast ordained. End quote, Psalm 8. The third height of heaven is above the firmament and is the abode of the Creator, his throne, and his heavenly hosts. 2 Corinthians 12:2, I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago, whether in the body I do not know, or out of the body I do not know, God knows such a man was caught up to the third heaven. So again, that's 2 Corinthians 12. It is this author's belief that the word heavens in plural came to mean one of these layers specifically or all of them in general. A YouTube channel by the name Richard Lopez came across something very interesting regarding the heavens while going through a set of 1958 Encyclopedia Britannicas. He read and videoed the text under Antarctica and found this, quote, 4 United States planes flew from New Zealand to McMurdo Sound on December 20th, 1955, and made exploratory flights over unknown parts of the continent, Antarctica, until January 18th, 1956, when they returned to New Zealand. These flights proved the inland areas to be featureless in character, with a dome 13,000 feet high and about a latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. He went on to explain after the Antarctic Treaty was signed into international law in December of 1959, these references to the firmament were forever removed from all future editions written after 1959. And again, that would be written into Encyclopedia Britannica. It is this author's conjecture that by removing the firmament from our belief system, as has happened, the enemy has not only removed the place of the Most High and his habitation, but also the legitimate product of creation comprised of his literal handiwork in one fell swoop. Millions of people have been misled and cannot find God in this world because of this, when in reality, he's been right there all along, looking down upon us. And this is Psalms 102, for he looked down from his holy height, from heaven the Lord gazed upon the earth. And then Psalm 14, the Lord has looked down from heaven upon the sons of men to see if there are any who understand, who seek after the Most High. This author, having been misled as well, was mystified and perplexed for decades by this illusion of our quote-unquote official heliocentric outer space system, in which he had wrestled continuously by wondering, where is our Creator hiding in this ever-expanding universe? It wasn't until this author really understood the magnitude of this magnificent firmament that he then understood for the first time exactly where Yahweh is watching from and the location of his throne. This realization enabled him to remove the scales from his eyes and start developing a new understanding of the intended meaning of Scripture and his true authenticated creation. The firmament is not expansive air or atmosphere in a vacuum in space. In fact, I would submit to you that it is perhaps the most amazing triumph of engineering ever to be devised and constructed, for the Most High has used this marvel of a superstructure to demonstrate his omnipotent, amazing power and literal handiwork. Psalm 19, the heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament shows its handiwork. So that's the end of section 3. And I just maybe should go on record real quick before I sign off on this one that to me, I haven't seen enough evidence one way or another for a physical based dome structure as is described here. But does that mean there's not? No, I'm not going to say that there's not a based dome structure, with a solid foundational base somewhere south of Antarctica. That's entirely possible. What I will say is also there's a potentiality for sort of a solid firmament that is not based on the ground. So it doesn't things that are in the heavens do not necessarily need a solid foundational base to remain aloft in the heavens. So, for example, if you take a look at helium and hydrogen and the lighter than air gases all make their way upwards to the higher than 120,000 feet for sure. And we find in the so-called lower magnetosphere, there is evidence for plasma tubes, which is ionized gases in the lower magnetosphere, electrified, electrically negatively charged gases at high altitudes. We also see things like meteor showers and comets that appear to be physical somehow, flying in the sky or falling from the sky. And I would say, a theory that I sort of have held for quite a while is a theory of these lighter than air gases condensing and precipitating, just like rainwater does, but on a much higher level. And so, who's to say that there isn't some buoyant, crystalline form of hydrogen or helium at super high, elevations, constituting sort of a physical dome, but would not necessarily need a physical base? Because you see, if you tie your